Hi everyone, it's Kathleen. I'm here to do an update of my vintage linens on wool blanket. And I'm going to share with you what I've done so far and then let you know what I'm going to do to finish it. So I started off with an orange wool blanket that I purchased at a secondhand store. And then I hand stitched on this linen tablecloth. It's a large tablecloth, and I wanted to leave one of the quadrants of orange roses plain, and then I wanted to stitch with different yarns. So it's a different color palette of greenery and some of the flowers. So one type of yarn on this quadrant, and I will give you a detailed view in a slower motion. Then I used the leaves. You can mostly notice I've used a sage and yellow ochre, but the flowers I tried to keep the same. They are red and they are orange, but they're different yarns. So they may look the same to you, but in real life they are different. So I just wanted a sample for myself. So this Vintage Fabrics on Wool blanket is a sampler. So on top, after I hand stitched the linen tablecloth, I then chose this doily here, and I cut that doily in half. So you'll see a portion up here. It's with the daisies, orange and yellow daisies, and I cut it in half. So, whoops. So the bottom half is, well, on the bottom, top half on the top. I also have a second doily that's linen, and it's embroidered. I cut that in half, again for the top and the bottom. But I have this very beautiful center medallion. It is a crocheted bit that's vintage, and in the center I added one of my hand stitched pieces that I did for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, one of those episodes that they did. That's the centerpiece of my quilt. Then I had this beautiful other tablecloth, so I cut that into, it looks like two quadrants. So one on this bottom left, and they went up top right, and it's there, top right of the camera. Then I also had this other luncheon piece with the blue crocheted edge, so I cut that in half, and I attached one to the left, top left, bottom right. Then I had, since I had these little corner pieces, so I had 1, 2, 1 and 2 up there, I went the opposite side and got this little piece, bottom right, top left, and then I had a piece in the center I needed to fill up, so I used that piece in the center left and center right. So I'm going to pull you out, and that's how I started it. I cut up doilies and laid it down on the center of the blanket. Then I had beautiful vintage pieces I wanted to showcase. So I started with the bottom and the top. So I have just this little piece of doily that is linen and crocheted. So I placed that at the bottom center. Then I went to the top, and I have another half of a doily that I loved, and I put that at the top. And then I started to work on the outside. So from the corners, each, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 corners have that piece. with the ecru scalloped edge. Then I laid this hanky, and then do I have any more? I'm just going to show you what I have attached. So what I overlapped this square. You can see how I overlapped it by. Then I did this piece, which is not a napkin, a hanky, a very thin hanky, corner of a Battenberg. Then I just had some little tidbits to fill in. You see how it's almost going zigzag because I turned the squares on an angle to make a diamond. And then that little piece to fill in. And instead of going all the way across and running around with the camera, I'm just going to go down. So then I started on, so I overlapped the top and I overlapped the sides, but I started at the edge of the tablecloth and I laid half of a doily down. Then I overlapped it with this white crocheted bit on the outside. And, okay, what is this? Okay, this is a little, I wanted this Battenberg bit, so I put down the Battenberg bit. Then I laid this little, it's very old edging, and 2 yo-yos. And I stitched around the yo-yos in an outline stitch in red, a back stitch in orange, and just a running stitch. So all 3. Then I have these extra long bullion tendrils hanging from the center of each one of those. After the Battenberg lace, I had an edge of a doily. It's about like this, say 4 inches. I wanted to use that strip. Beautiful edging lace. Then I have a tatting little circle. Some other little collar, vintage collar. That's very fine linen. And what I like on the outside here, I'm going to try to fan up. This is a christening dress. So look at how thin it is. It's so thin. So the christening dress is just overlapped by about 1/2 inch, half of a sleeve, and one side of the dress. And this is the edge of the dress. I added the length with a doll. This little section here, again, going along the edge of the tablecloth, is a doll slip. Love that crocheted edging here. So I placed it again. It's always placed from the edge of the linen tablecloth in or out. Another beautiful pineapple piece of crocheted bit. Gorgeous lace trim. Another Suffolk puffs. And these are all feed sack fabrics. And same with these that I purchased online maybe a year ago. So I tried to get the yellow and orange and coral colors here. So then I had, this is the bottom of the corner, that same corner piece here. I had some hexagons, 6 hexagons, and another Suffolk puff. Look at that feed sack fabric. It is so beautiful. So all the Suffolk puffs have these tentacles with the 3 colors of yarn. I'll show you the yarn in a minute. And the same 3 yarns in the same 3 stitches I replicated. This is an oval doily that I placed. Again, starting from the linen cloth, either on or off. Beautiful, and I'm looking through the through the lens here. This is beautiful, just trim, cotton trim, and the edge of a small little table runner. Doily, that's some sort of, it's not crocheted, there must be another name for it. Saw that again, doily, very, very fine lace, cotton linen hanky, edging, again an oval piece, and this is part of a pillowcase. Isn't that lovely? Another Grandma's Flower Garden with hexagons, and a bright red yo-yo with the same bullion knots and stitching. And we come to the end. So let's pan out and just look at the bottom. I love how that looks. And it's just gorgeous. I want to use it already. I'm not going to be totally encrusting it with stitch because my dog will probably wreck this as it is. So I'll let you know what I'm going to do with it in a second after I go up. So I have these two Grandma's Flower Garden and another yo-yo or Suffolk puff. And I'm going to turn the camera this way as we, let's just leave it this way. That's a crocheted doily, again, from the center line in or the center line out, overlaid to yo-yos. Delicate, old, naturally aged lace. And that, again, I mirror imaged it. So there's that doll slip. Then the christening dress. Beautiful old collars. Suffolk puffs made out of vintage feed sack. This was a small tatted doily that I overlaid on both inside and outside of that tablecloth. The same type of edging I just love on the outside. Some old lace. Love these partially done cross-stitch embroideries. I have a few of these that I would like to do. And our time is precious. We only have so much time left here before our hands don't work or our eyesight goes. So that's why I've decided I have so many projects. This is it for, well, it's not it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do for it, but I'm not totally encrusting it like I was planning to. My other snippet cloth is going to be totally encrusted, and that might take me a year or so to do. Another doily, another half doily. So you see how they're laid on or off. Back to the corner, some more trims. And what I have done to blend or merge all these edgings, you can see I've done the seed stitch. I started off with red, and I've done the seed stitch. This was stacked straight stitch, running stitch, and then the seed stitch. All the way around, I did the seed stitch. If I point it out to you, you'll see this seed stitch. Everywhere we go, and it joins it. So it blends everything in. And then I stopped the red over here, continued with the orange, and then we had that variegated with the white. And I did the same thing here. Started with the variegated, added the orange and the red. And husband has that army buddy over, so they might be a little bit loud. And I was trying to coerce the dog downstairs because Andy has a tiny little furry chihuahua that's like supposed to be 5 pounds, but it's probably 10. No, it's 11. It's 1 more pound bigger than Jacques. Okay, what am I doing? Okay, now I want to show you what I want to do to finish this off. I have these 3 yarns. This is the red that I've used in the seed stitch, the orange, and this is the variegated, I'm going to call it variegated white. So when you look at this, I just want to make sure that they are attached. So some of these are just appliqued on like this. This is appliqued on. So I'm just going to take these 3 yarns and work the seed stitch. Why? Because I just love the seed stitch. To me, the seed stitch is just fantastic. Instead of just doing the outline stitch or the back stitch or the running stitch. So I'm just going to be playing with the seed stitch in these 3 colors. Places like, okay, this is sewn on, that's sewn on. I will be methodically going on and see how well I tacked this on. I don't want to add seed stitching there. Where did I see I had a problem? Okay, some of these edgings. So I just have to, oh, look at this. I have to secure the edging on this a little bit. So in some places like that where it's raw edge, maybe here where it's raw edged, I have to go, but I'll have to see, because as you know, color plays a major part in any stitching project. The same stitch done in a different yarn or in a different color will totally make or break your project. So that is it. I loved creating this. I will be making more smaller pieces. This was very, okay, let me back up. I'm not a quilter. I don't like to quilt. It's too hard on my hands. It's too hard to work on. This big piece here was a massive job. Just gather, because I have to feel it. So I have to gather it up in my hands to work with. So it's quite hard when you get into the center like this, when you're grabbing all that fabric. So bottom line is I'm going to be working on, well, I say smaller pieces, but I know I have a big Sue Spargo project I'm going to be working on, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. But this is it for the orange wool blanket that has on my vintage textiles that I wanted to showcase on here. I was going to do a lot more stitching on here, but as of today, I'm going to just rice stitch, and that's seed stitch, rice stitch. That's going to take me a while. So this is probably the last video I'm going to show you of this blanket. And I'm going to say bye for now. My next video will be about other projects I'm working on. So see you in the next video.